Winemaking and grape growing is definitely a second career for me. I spent 25 odd years in the convention and trade show business. I loved wine just from a consumer standpoint, and I wanted to learn more about the idea of growing grapes and making wine. So I went to school and learned about viticulture and learned about wine sciences and enology. After school, I decided this is something I wanted to pursue. The goal of this brand when we started it, and continues to be the goal, is to craft small production wines. We have full involvement. That's why we grow our own grapes. And ultimately, when the decision came to start our own brand and to start growing our own grapes, we were looking for a place throughout the West Coast that the Syrahs and Grenaches and Viogniers and the like do well. And it just so turned out that Paso Robles was an amazing place. We acquired this piece of property here on Anderson Road. It had an existing vineyard in it, and we ended up farming that for a year and deciding that that wasn't the right grape varieties. You know, we started basically from scratch here. We're sitting outside our tasting room here. This was a building that we built just so we could have a place for people to visit and taste our wines. And in essence, we replanted the entire vineyard site here. So we now have 20 beautiful acres of mostly those Rhone varieties planted here. But the whole idea was to bring in the vineyards, because the tasting room is here right in the midst of the vineyards, bring in the feel of the outdoor, of wine country. And we made several trips to Europe and to Italy and south of France. And so we wanted a building that sort of brought that provincial Tuscan feel to us, and that's how we designed the tasting room. It was about 300 feet in elevation rise, so they're sloped facing the south. We get full sun exposure, but we also have little pockets. These are rolling hills on top of that. A couple of things we took into consideration: the soil types change as you go up the elevation here. So we have blocks, changes up the hills. Because we were going to grow our grapes, we wanted to have some connection to the land and some connection to the, as I like to say, just the dirt. It's really an important factor. We grow on very highly limestone-based, very calcium-based soils. This was sea bottom millions of years ago. So the name we chose is Caliza, and Caliza is a Spanish word specifically meaning limestone. Limestone is really important for the character of the wines that you get from this region, and specifically our wines. Brings a nice minerality, a nice little bit of a chalky characteristic that balances well with the big, bright fruit flavors that we get from growing grapes here in the area. Our main goal is to do blended wines. We do love the Rhone variety, so our flagship is a Rhone blend, typical that you would find in the southern Rhone Valley in France, in the Châteauneuf-du-Pape or Côte de Rhône area. And this is where we take Grenache, Mourvèdre, and Syrah and blend them into one wine. And we call this wine that we make azimuth. And azimuth, we chose that name. It's a navigational term, it's a directional term. And my wife and I thought it was really appropriate for us because in the dictionary, one of the definitions will tell you is a changing of direction or charting of a new course. And that's what we did in our lives to get into the wine business. The majority of our business is focused directly to the consumers. We have some distribution throughout the States, but very little. Most of our wine, because of our low production level, we just don't have enough wine. You'll not find our wine on grocery store shelves, but mostly our wine is sold to consumers and club members. That's a big part of our business model, is the people that love our wines and want to follow our wines